discussion space. Here we speak from our hearts. And that is why we're bringing you part 2 of the topic, the truth behind premarital counseling. We believe that this topic is very important. It's not a business. It's one of those deals that you go into that you want to make it right and make it happen in a right way. Right, Kaydian?
Yes, because marriage is intended to be a lifelong decision.
Yes.
So we really have to start on the right footing. And that is why we're having this discussion on premarital counseling. So if you were with us with part 1, you know that we have a special guest with us, Dr. Dennis, who is the expert on these issues. And so without any further delay, we'll just get right into it. Welcome again, Dr. Dennis.
And welcome to our able ladies who have always been here to make this discussion vibe up.
Yes.
And so this evening
totally
we're
agree.
happy that you are joining us. Yes. Dr. Dennis, we left off on a very important matter in our first episode there, where we were discussing the whole process of premarital counseling and the truth behind it. And now we want to take it a little deeper. And I'm sure that my panelists here, they do have questions they want to ask.
Yes.
So I'm going to just throw it out. Whoever want to ask Dr. Dennis, the first question, go right ahead.
Okay, Dr. Dennis. So what are some of the key topics to explore in premarital counseling?
All right. So when we think about marriage, we think about our servicing marriage. We think about similar to servicing a car. When you have a car, you have several parts that needs to be maintained.
All right.
And so we focus on those parts that must be maintained when you get married in order to select the topics. All right. So, or you could compare it to the systems of the body. So we say that there are 11 systems, the respiratory system, what are the others? Secretory.
Cardiovascular,
Digestive.
alimentary.
Yes, so all the biologists would know, you know. So similarly, we have about 10 areas of the marriage that we will need to focus on. Some might say 12. I am working with 12 today. I have 10 in the book. And so those who...
So Dr. Dennis, before you continue, we want them to get their pens and their paper, because this topic is so important. We want you to run and get your pens, your paper, email somebody, text somebody, and let them know there are 10 items that doctor is going to give out at this time. 12, okay, go right ahead.
I'm gonna give 12 today.
All right.
Some will say 10, some will say I'm gonna use 12 today, but just like the systems of the body, some say it's 10, some say it's 11.
Can I also see the front of the book, Pastor?
The front of the book, Premarital Preparation Handbook, written by on the back there now, Roy.
So this book is specially written by Dr. Dennis and his wife.
All right, and it's available in the IADPA bookstores all over the Central America and the Caribbean, published by the Inter-American Publishing Association.
Amen. We're happy for you, Doc.
Get your copies.
Yes. So there are. So we said that similar to the car, or similar to the systems of the body. And premarital counseling is done based on different systems too. So you might have those who use a seminar approach, and you have others who use a questioning approach. They call it premarital inventory. And then you have others who combine the approach. So you have counseling questions and you have seminar information. So you provide it. And you take it for granted that the couple that you're preparing for marriage, there are some things you have to provide education. The psychologists would call it psychoeducation. Well, in premarital counseling, sometimes some areas. I did a session last night, Thursday night, and when we were through, the couple said we learned a lot, because this is the session on sexual intimacy and family planning. And this is
Okay.
a young couple in their early 20s who grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now, you can't just question them about sexuality and sexual intimacy. They might not understand certain things. So
Right.
that session, normally I provide some level of, ask them some questions, but deep education as they prepare themselves.
Yes.
So what are some of the topics that we look at? Right up top, we talk about your concept of marriage. What is marriage? Their concept of marriage, what they're getting into. Then, and in that session, I do my biblical grounding of what the Bible says marriage is. Yeah. You know that there are 3 words we use, that marriage is legal. Legal means that it is binding in the country that you are getting married. It is moral, meaning that it is the right thing in the sight of God, and it is ethical, which is that society accepts it as the way to form families. All right, so your concept of marriage. Number 2, your goals and objectives, where you want to be. This is one of the areas that you should be similar in. So you want to find out from the couple what they want to achieve, if they're going to go back to school to study, where they want to be 5 years, whether they want to have children, and so on. And then number 3, communication. This, if there is one topic that you mustn't miss, this is the one. So of all the topics, the number 1 reason for divorce, well, I can speak of here in Jamaica because I have done the research and we have seen the research out there. The number 1 reason for divorce in Jamaica is matters of communication, issues and can't talk to my husband, can't talk to my wife, and if you combine conflict resolution, so you'd say. So the number 1 reason for divorce is not unfaithfulness or domestic violence. It is issues on communication and conflict resolution.
Wow.
Okay, so communication, number 3, conflict resolution, number 4, family finance, number 5, partner styles and habits, number 6, leisure activities, number 7, sex and family planning, number 8, we would say social, family and friends, where social relationship, roles and responsibilities, parenting, and religious beliefs and practice.
Okay.
Very well. All right. So those are the 12 that I want to list, and some of them are sometimes combined. So you'll find most persons working with 10 topics. All right. So in the book I have 10. All right. So those are some of the topics that these are the system. Everything else, everything that you do in the relationship will fall on one of these.
Right. Yes.
So when you're assessing in premarital, you assess the relationship where it is now, and you provide education or counseling for where it should be. So with the prepare and rich evaluates them, for example, on communication, the strength or growth. They mark it out of 100. You know, if you get 80 to 100 now, you're strong.
You pass.
They call that strong. And if you're mostly fairly strong if you're at say 60 to 80, and then 40 to
anything
60
below
is a growth area, and they don't use weak, but if you're below 60, then these are areas that you need to work. And they categorize the marriage in 4 areas in prepare and enrich. Vitalize, that's when you score on all 10 points. All of your grades are like 10 and are like from 80 and above. Communication, conflict resolution, concept of sexuality, and so on. Everything you score above 80, you're vitalized. That means they are saying to us as marriage, go ahead and counsel them for marriage. This couple will be ready for marriage. If they score 60 to 80, average and all, they are considered as harmonious. They are good. You can work with them for marriage. If they score 40 to 60, they are conventional. Conventional is saying
Yes.
mostly focus on the commitment,
Yeah,
but
no sex
they
and
need
Sabbath.
some work to be done. And if they
I have a
score
question.
below 40, then they are considered
1
conflicted.
second, Georgette.
They are considered conflicted. That means that he is not ready. You can't recommend conflicted couple for marriage, right?
Okay.
So that's how prepare.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Category.
Dennis.
Yes.
Georgette is burning with a question, and I see Simone and Treacha, their eyes open widely. So let's get into the discussion, ladies. Georgette.
The question I have, Doc, have you found that there are some persons who are very good at taking the test? So they'll get 100, but in reality, when it comes to the real thing, you know, they are
This is
different.
serious.
Yes,
Oh,
and so that is why with Prepare and Rich. So as a pastor and a psychologist, I don't necessarily use the manual with every couple. You know, but if you're doing the sessions with them, that's when the seminars and the questioning will pick up some things. Because some people, they try to trick the system. They know, they think ahead. Bright persons, I found that even the other day I was looking at a couple and I see that this person is so rigid. Now they have a map in Prepare and Rich that they send to us. They plot the map to say whether you are flexible or and so on. And the person is flexible and whatever. But in my conversation with the person in sessions,
there's no
the person
flexibility.
is one of the most inflexible. And I'm saying, how did it? But this is a bright person who can prepare. So what you put in is what you will get out. And so they think ahead of Prepare and Rich and say, boy, I can't answer this question this way. Make me look like flexible.
Wow.
So if you do that, it's just like going to the doctor and you are sick, you have cancer, and the doctor says, well, you have pain in your hand, and you say, boy, you don't want them to know that you have pain in your hand because the doctor going to think that you're sick and want to admit you. So you say, no.
So you can't get the help.
And so what is going to happen now is that you're going to suffer the consequences of not really sharing the symptoms. You might get even medication that is not the right medication. So yes, there are people who think ahead of what the question is saying and answer based on what they are expected to say and not what is the reality in their lives.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Before we move right into the other ladies, I want to ask our viewers at this point, if you're married, how was your counseling session? Write it in the chat if it's something you can write. Did you go through a detailed counseling, premarital counseling? And what were the signs that the counselor could say, Kaydian, you're ready? Like, let us know your opinion on your situation when you went for your counseling. Yes. Yes.
I have a quick question, a very quick question for Pastor Dennis.
Yes.
Now, in your experience counseling individuals or couples rather, can you identify or share with us perhaps 3 areas that you find a lot of people are lacking in? You mentioned 3. You mentioned 12 topics that you covered during premarital counseling. Do you find that sometimes when you're going through some of the areas, people get caught off guard? They didn't expect this to come up in the counseling, and how do you deal with that?
Yes. So I don't know if what I heard in the early part of your question is how you ended up, but you said lacking, and in my mind I'm thinking areas maybe like that they need to improve on. I don't know if that is and the number one area would be the same number one area that causes divorce, and that is communication.
Wow.
That this is a big area where and I will male and female don't communicate the same. So there's another area that as a psychologist that I look for. So when I am looking at the social relationship, I do what is called a family genogram, because every counselor doesn't have to do that, but I know what I'm looking. So I set up in the book, there's a simple genogram that can be followed. And so it looks at persons and their family background and the social relationships. And you find that people communicate differently. Male and female difference comes out in this genogram, and your family history gives an idea of how you communicate. So people communicate differently, and they rate their communication differently. Sometimes, most times, the man rates the communication higher than the woman.
Wow.
So the
And I
man
thought it was the other way around.
So no, because the women expect more in the communication. The man is at, sometimes you don't even talk much, and the man
Don't care.
first it at a 9. And when you ask the lady, she said 4. Out of 10, we're talking about. So communication is one of the big areas that I see where persons have wide gaps that need to be addressed.
Wow.
And then conflict resolution is another area
Yes.
that we need to.
So how do people get over those things? Because earlier in the first session, we talked about people saying the heart wants what the heart wants.
Yes.
But if they've discovered that they have a communication problem, how do they go about resolving that in the premarital counseling experience?
Well, the counseling can help. Education, as I said, counseling. The counselor should be equipped not just to go through questionnaires, and that's where now, if you're not properly trained. So we have, there is a person in Jamaica who provides a 130th question that many of our pastors have been using.
Okay.
He's a family therapist himself, not from our denomination, but for years we have been using that.
Okay.
And then Dr. Anthony Gordon from our denomination also has premarital inventory. So it is simple, and so you will find some pastors just take 100 and odd questions from this pastor and ask the couples for yes and no answers and so on. No, if you do that, you will not be able to address some of the issues. So when you pick up these things, you should be equipped to provide some level of education, or if you are not equipped to do so, to refer them for further support. So if they are not communicating at a level 5 and above out of 10, then you need to refer them further. So as a psychologist, they can go through assertiveness training, which is maybe another 3-4 sessions, learning how to talk with one another. So assertiveness would include how to talk with one another, how to get what you want, using I statement and feeling words. So instead of saying, you always leave the dirty, plate dishes in the sink, you would use I statement to say, I would prefer if you wash the dishes when you use them.
Wow.
It's a different thing from saying, you're nasty, you always leave dirty dishes in the sink. So you have to now train them how to use I statements and feeling words. You don't call names. So you're accomplishing the same thing. If you say, I would prefer if you wash the dirty dishes when you use them, as you would if you say, you're a nasty person, you always leave the dirty dishes in the sink. You're pointing finger, and that creates war and the conflict. And you don't want.
Yes.
So the temptation, and I would say to the couple that, listen, him nasty if you chew in about him, but when you hammer that, you're creating war, and you don't want. It's peace you want. And remember, the goal is to deal with the dishes and not, so it says attack the problem and not the person. And when you say you're nasty, you're attacking the person. So we take them through assertiveness if you're equipped to do so, or you refer them to get this assertiveness training.
Yes, I know you are at the edge of your seat. Time has stopped for you at this point, as we've been having a very interesting, relatable discussion. But we have to pause. So see you as we break for
Let me just ask
advertisement.
one question before we break. Viewers, I know that most of us here, all of us here are from Jamaica. So you have gotten used to our terms by now and the way how we say our stuff. But how do you, what is it like in your country where you're viewing from? Your premarital setup, your premarital counseling, your dating. What is it like? Is it much different from ours? Should we expect that your country operates different? Let's hear from you in the comment section. And we will be right back with the continuation of this discussion. Here. And if you haven't heard that we're online, please share this video right now, this YouTube channel right now, because we are going to move into the part 2 of our discussion, and you, our viewers, are going to hear what it is like, the truth about premarital counseling. And I'm sure that you're not getting to hear from us our own point of view, because we have the doctor here who specializes in the area of premarital counseling, right, Kaydian?
Yes, yes. And I'm sure based on the discussion, we're going to have to reinvite him again for future discussions.
Because this is a sober moment, Kaydian,
yes.
and we don't want it to be just one of our ordinary show. We want it to be special, right?
Yes, it's very good.
Yes.
It's very good.
Ladies, let's hear from you. Doctor has mentioned quite a few things in the premarital counseling, what to expect, the list of things that you should look for. But let me hear your opinion then on what was it like, if you want to share about your session in counseling. And for Simone, who is going to be getting married someday, what is it that it's concrete for you today, Simone and Trish?
Simone, you want to go ahead?
But while they're thinking, I have a question.
But I don't want the question yet, Kaydian, because I want to hear their opinion, and then we'll take your question, and then Pastor can answer it, and then we continue.
All right, so my question, I wanted to ask this question before you go from the break.
Yes.
So, Dr. Dennis, while based on the 12 topics that you discuss in premarital counseling, which one of the 12 is more predominant among your couples? So, is it that you find communication?
Well, I think Simone asked that question earlier, right, Simone?
She had asked which was predominant.
We're based on the need. You're talking
general.
about...
This is a general question.
All right. So let me see
general.
if I can. All
which
right.
one you come across the most? Is it that you come across communication? Is it that you come across the financial part of it,
conflict
or the intimacy
resolution
part of it? Yeah. Which one is more predominant? General.
All right. I think it would be the same answer as with Simone, that the communication is the most prominent. But there are 3 topics that I think that if you don't get to do any other, these are the 3 that you would want to do. And that would be the communication, you twin it with conflict resolution.
I don't think you understand my question. Or maybe I am not the one phrasing it the correct way.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't mean the one that you ask, but which one is more the couple?
So I want to answer that question, Treacha. The question I think you're asking.
Has that problem. The couple who come, because every couple would have a different problem. Some may not have any. some couple may come and after their assessment, you go right into the counseling and you pass them for marriage. But some couple, they might have an intimacy problem or they might have a communication problem, but it's their need, it's their problem, not what you have to ask. You understand the question, Georgette?
Yes, because each couple that comes to you have their own priorities or the things that are most important to them. So, for example, for me, what was important for me were two things. What were our goal objectives, and family planning was very essential for me.
Yeah.
Because I knew, for example, that I only wanted 2 children and no more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want to be married to a man who wanted 6 children. Right? I also understood, for example, that my husband was ambitious as I was. And so he was 11 years older than I am. And so we had to, at the beginning, look at who would push first in terms of career. So when I started having children, I had to step back and put my career on hold so that he could push forward. And then at a point where he would have gotten what he wanted, no, then he had to step back and allow me to come forward. So those two issues were important to me. And I guess a counselor would have to recognize what are the important elements for each person who comes for counseling at the end of the day.
Yes, so that is not and that would not be very prominent among all the couples that I have done. The communication and conflict resolution is by far the most common need, or whether challenge or need. It is the communication where the person's having concerns about communication in the relationship already that exists, right? And so I would say that would be the largest that I see. There are persons with financial issues and concerns that features prominently also.
Because Dr. Dennis, what I hear a lot of people say, and it's something that I've always heard, and the 2 things that mash up relationship, and this is how we typical Jamaicans would say it, 2 things mash up marriage, and it's sex and money. That are the 2 things we always mash up a marriage. Would you agree with that statement this evening?
Yes. So So I was heading, when you asked the question the first time, I was heading to 3 key things when I said 3 topics that you should look at. But it's the 3 needs also that I see most prominent, and that's why they are the topics that you should not bypass. It's a topic that you
their foundation.
Communication, twin with conflict resolution, sex and family planning, and family finance. These are the big 3 that I would say that must be addressed, and these are the ones with the most prominent need and creates the most problems in the relationship. Statistically, in marriage, these are the big ones. Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Yes. And I know Kaydian had a burning question. Now this is your time, Kaydian.
Oh boy. So, we have been told that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So we understand that people are not perfect and we are different. But how can we know when we are to really take a second look at this thing before moving forward, or just cancel it altogether? What are those red flags?
All right. So when you talk about men are from Mars, women are from Venus, we talk about one of the key issues there, male-female differences that sometimes create conflicts. But if we should go back to the words that I mentioned in the previous episode, we talk about unequally yoked, we talk about compatibility, and we talk about complementarity. And if you should use prepare, enrich use a system where if the people are scoring below 60% on each of these, so that's those who will take them through the assessment, then you will know that they are not ready for marriage, and you will have to work with them and maybe do over the assessment, and they are scoring above. So you have what would be considered as some type of empirical evidence. Some people say it's not as scientific as it looks, but they will answer some questions. And as I say, people can trick that system because it's a different type of research from, statistics. It is more qualitative in nature, and sometimes people say what they think you want to hear. But at least you can use that to measure and to say if they are scoring. Then they need further work. So, example, communication is not one you're going to let through. So when they're going to need more work on these. So these are red flag if they are not. For those who are not trained in prepare enrich, you can do a simple evaluation on your own. And if we get into looking at the questions that we ask, you will see that you can evaluate. For example, I will ask, how is the communication in this relationship? Now, I didn't send them to any prepare and enrich thing, but I will ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 in my inventory, how would you rate the communication in this relationship? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. That's simple for an ordinary layperson to understand, and they might say 6. And then you want to know, why did you give 6? You give a passing grade. What is good? Give me 2 things that are good about it. And then what do you take off 4 points for? Oh, you take off 4 points because him curse me all the time and him tell me some things and I don't like. And as you assess that, you will know, the counselor will have to have the preparedness to know whether or not this can continue into a marriage.
Right.
So you have to do some evaluation on each topic based on the preparedness of the couple, to know if they are ready or not. Yes. So it's not just answering, and that's why I'm saying now, some people just ask some questions, some close-ended question, and the people say yes or no, 100 on that question, and they pass.
Yes.
No, it is qualitative in nature. It is open-ended questioning to assess each couple going to respond differently. Right?
I was looking at some information regarding some of these red flags, and I hear terms like stonewalling and defensiveness, criticisms and contempt and gaslighting.
I still don't know what that means.
Can you explore it a little bit in terms of communication and conflict resolutions?
Stonewalling is when you're not allowing the person a chance.
Okay.
You put up a defense mechanism against the person, and you're not giving them an opportunity. And if the person doesn't have an opportunity for a conversation, then your relationship is not going anywhere. Then you have a contempt. You treat the person as less than.
Wow.
From my layman terms, because I was not prepared to give you the dictionary definition, but you treat the person as if they are. Nobody wants to be treated as if they are less than. And then you have, you talk about gaslighting. Now, gaslighting is persons who are narcissistic and they are always correct. And when you are correct and they are wrong, they always turn it around to make you upset. So you turn out to be the villain at all times.
At all times.
Yes. Right. So that's what gaslighting is. Always turn it around on you. And you always, so they are never wrong.
And the defensiveness.
Well, that I know is more self-explanatory. Where you have some persons, you need to have a conversation and they start defending themselves. They are not open for conversation, but they start. Even the tone will tell you that they are not open to hear your side of the story.
And no accountability.
When you go into a conversation, you must not go in the conversation to always win, because you can win the fight and lose your marriage.
Right.
So it is not a win-lose situation. Your conversation must always bear in mind the importance of maintaining relationship.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes.
We're so happy that we're getting to unpack all this marital, premarital counseling, and even digging deep into the marriage. And it leaves me to want to put out more there to you, because I know, dear listeners, that this is so important. And if you're not married as yet, I'm sure this discussion can help you and will help you. And if you're married and you're going through some of what Dr. Dennis is mentioning, there's always an opportunity to seek the proper counseling. So at this time, we will be pausing for a break. And when we come back, we're going to go into a big culmination of Doctor taking us home to the home run, along with my panelists, enjoying this moment and giving you a treat of what it is like to have real raw discussion right here in this discussion space.
On September 14th, 2025, lives were touched and hearts were healed. Through the medical mission in downtown Toronto, many individuals found hope, physically, mentally, and spiritually. In 2026, we continue that mission of love and compassion. Join us for the medical mission to downtown Toronto with the theme, Your Health, Our Passion. On Sunday, September 6th, 2026, at the Novotel Toronto Centre, offering free holistic health and wellness services for our community. Be part of something truly meaningful. Support this mission through your prayers, your participation, and your heartfelt donation. Together, let's continue transforming lives, because your health is our passion.
Welcome back. We're so happy that you've stuck around throughout this discussion, because I know this is very important, and that is why we make it one of our topics here on Mantle for More discussion space. I know we were deep into the discussion and we were deep into everything that was juicy for you, our listeners. But I'm sure that our panelists here, Kaydian, might have more questions. So at this time, I'm just going to let them speak from their heart to Dr. Dennis.
Okay, Dr. Dennis, I do have a question for you. Now, for those of us who will probably one day have to do premarital counseling, because by God's grace, we will find the right person.
Yes.
What would you say are some of the questions that you ask couples when they come to you for premarital counseling?
Okay, thank you very much. So the questions are organized based on those matters. Remember, we told you about those topics.
Yes,
that
12.
we would look at. So each topic, I would spend an hour in counseling with them, and if the need is there for more, then we would indicate that at the end of the session. So I'm just going to go through and just share with you what one of or two of the questions from each section would be like. So the concept of marriage is the first session. We want to know, they want to get married, and why are they thinking about this marriage at this time? So one question would be, when you think about the word marriage, what does that mean to you? So you would get an opportunity to say what they think it is.
Right.
In this topic, we are looking at also at how they met each other and their relationship with each other over the time. And so I would ask, you met John and you have been dating, maybe they say 4 years, for 4 years. What causes you to think that John is the right person for you?
Well,
So they would have to list the qualities. This is where the qualities would come out now.
okay.
about that. So we're just whetting your appetite on that one. That's the concept of marriage.
Okay.
For that topic, I ground it with Genesis 2:18 to 24, where God talks about the one fleshness, they shall be one flesh, to talk about unity and two I words, intimacy and intercourse.
Okay.
That is unique for the marriage relationship. So that is session number 1. Session number 2, we are looking at, well, this is an assignment, so they get a genogram to complete, which looks at their family background. And I ask about where they grew up, what their family was like, disciplinary measures, and whether there is any type of physical or mental illness that runs in the.
Okay.
So if you know that if 2 persons are getting married and they have sickle cell trait, then each child has a 50% chance of becoming full-blown sickle cell or having sickle cell. You look at mental illness like schizophrenia or Alzheimer's may come up in the family life.
Wow.
You know, so these are things that we look at from. But the genogram, as I said, no, not every counselor necessarily have to do that, because not everybody is a psychologist.
Yes.
But those who use the book, the pastors, it is simplified so that they can use it. We talk about, I have an individual session after that for each person. And
that's good.
yes,
Wow.
so I meet with them outside of the presence of the person
Each other.
that they are dating, to make sure that they are not being forced or coerced, to ensure that they are in their right mind, and to ensure that they are making the right decision. Questions that I
Very
ask,
good. Yes.
their social relationship, and one of the questions I ask is, do you love yourself?
All right.
And the most people will say yes, and what does that look like? Because loving yourself could be selfishness, or it could be self-respect. So you want to know whether or not the person, and do you love the person that you are dating, and what does that look like? So then now we move on to communication and conflict resolution. We ask them for a definition of communication, and then we measure the communication by asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the communication in this relationship?
Okay.
And so they get an opportunity to talk about it, and they, as I shared with you, they will say what is good, what they like, and what can improve. Then we look at sex and family planning.
Okay.
Is sex an important thing in the marriage? Right? And then, as I said, in this topic, I spend a lot of time providing education. There are 3 Ds that I look at that could destroy your marriage: disloyalty, dissatisfaction, and dysfunction.
Wow.
Right? You have to come in this session. You have to pay to get that one.
All right. Doctor, while you think of what you're continuing
you can't
to say,
get that one not free. You have to pay to get that one.
Doctor, while you think of what you are continuing to say there, you mentioned 2 words I want you to explain to our viewers. You mentioned intimacy
and intercourse.
And intercourse. What's the difference? They're 2 married people.
Yes. So the Bible says one flesh.
Okay.
And if you look at that word, some people only see the oneness, but they don't see the fleshness in it. So I take a theological approach. So this is where my pastoral training comes in now.
All right.
Yes.
And I spend a little time giving them a theological discussion on what that means. The Bible says when Adam got married to Eve, that they came together, and he says the twain shall be one flesh.
Okay.
And when I ask them what one fleshness means, most people talk about unity.
All right. So, they don't talk about sex.
That is intimacy, closeness. Intimacy, you must be one in terms of your finance, your parenting, your communication. But a lot of people don't talk about the fleshness, which is the intercourse. The closest relationship on earth is marriage. And that is because you should not share sex with anybody else.
Yes.
You can get deeper into any relationship than entering another person's body. So one fleshness is not just about unity or intimacy. and closeness. It is about intercourse.
Right.
And every contract in Old Testament time was sealed by blood. And this is where intercourse is. As a matter of fact, it's not just the concept of the church that the marriage is not complete until it is sealed by intercourse, but it is the concept of the Registrar General in Jamaica. When they are training us as marriage officer, they give the people that is married 1 year to prove that the other person has a sex organ.
Okay.
If the man that you marry doesn't have a penis, the RGD says to us, the lady can bring back the document and they will annul the marriage, the wedding.
Wow.
And if the lady does not have a vagina, the man can bring back the document and they will annul the marriage. What annulment means is that they were never married. If you don't have the tool to have intercourse, even though you sign the legal documents, the RGD give you 1 year to go and find out if this person have the tool. So here I come with my pen at the honeymoon, sign contract, and you don't have no paper. What am I sign up? So even the government of Jamaica acknowledges that even after you say your vows and you sign the legal document, that the marriage is not yet complete until you have intercourse.
Consummation.
Yes, and if you don't want to have it, that's your business. And you allow the year to pass, that's your business. But RGD gives an opportunity, up to now, that you have the opportunity to prove. If the person has a penis and the wife has a vagina, it cannot be annulled.
Yes.
After you sign the document, it must be a divorce.
Okay.
What a divorce means is that you were once married and you are now pulling apart. Annulment means you were never married, because you can marry to somebody who don't have the tool to sign the contract.
Wow. Doctor.
So that is how deep marriage is, and that's my discussion with the couples to see what they are getting into.
Right. Amen. Kaydian.
This is very good.
This is deep.
Yes. I think Treacha wanted to ask her a question. I'll let her go ahead and then I'll speak.
So, Dr. Dennis, this is my final question. Are there any conditions that may cause the couple or individual to need additional counseling or help?
Yes. And if
Very
you
good
get
question.
a chance to read the book, we have a chapter on it, chapter 7, that speaks to some situations that I have found in my counseling. There might be others, but that may require further counseling help. If a person has been raped, whether male or female, it can hinder their capacity to give themselves to their spouse. So sometimes they need further help, sometimes they don't need further help. I have had persons who, when this is another thing that you would pick up in the individual session, because sometimes they won't raise it in the couple session. So you see why you need the individual session now. And I have picked up from mostly ladies, that sometimes the men too, that will say that they were raped. Sometimes they will say, then you want to find out if they think that this is something that they should disclose to the person that they are dating or not. And you have to assess it now in the individual session. For some persons, they gone long time, it's not affecting how they relate to a man, a woman. So it is not necessary. For others, it is affecting them. They're still having nightmares. And, so for a man to go in their bed and to touch them, you would have to work with them. So sometimes you have to pull them out. And sometimes you have to help them to inform the person that this has happened.
Wow.
Because it might be necessary. So rape, addiction, if the person doesn't know about it, you need your help to tell them. Abuse, they have been physically or sexually abused in the past. Grief or loss, sometimes they are mourning over the loss of loved one. And sometimes they get into a relationship because they are going through grief. And it might be the right reason or might not be the right time to be getting married now. Conflict management. So if you find that they are not able to manage their conflict,
Right.
in Prepare and Rich, if they're scoring less than 5 with this 6, then this is one that they say, no, it's a no. Communication resolution. Some of the other areas you can continue if they are scoring less than 5. If the average is more than 50, but they are scoring less than 5, some of the other areas may go proceed, but not conflict resolution. Mental health concerns, that if they're not in their right mind, this could also affect the relationship. Pages 91 to 96, premarital preparation.
You spoke about trauma. Previous trauma can affect the relationship. I know there is a condition known as vaginismus, where there is a spasm, so it prevents that penetrative act to occur. How have you ever encountered situations like those?
All right. So where that comes up with
it wouldn't be because it was premarital.
Which is the sexual 3Ds,
yes,
which is dysfunction.
Yes.
For the most part, you're not going to find that coming up unless the people have been living together.
Okay.
Because remember now, we talking about marriage, you're thinking about persons who were not living together. And that is why I focus on more education. Because you're not going to go in premarital to find out what their sexual experience has been, you know. One of the questions is, how do you learn about your sexuality? But you're not necessarily asking people how many women you have been with, how many men you have been with, because it's too intrusive. So you wouldn't necessarily be dealing with issues like that, maybe in marriage, but not in the premarital per se.
Okay.
If they were living together and had sexual experience before, like people who were married and lost their and so on, sometimes that may come up. And if those are issues of dysfunction, which we would have discussed in the sexual intimacy and family planning, and what we discussed there is if there's a dysfunction, how to deal with it. So we look at all dysfunction. There are 3 types in men that may be found in men. That is erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and retarded ejaculation. There are about 4 or 5 types that can be found in women. Sexual desire disorder, the sexual pain disorder. We have vaginismus. We have orgasmic disorder, and what else? So you look at those, and if and you know, that's why I provide a little education on that. And then you see how would you respond if the person is affected. Persons with like endometriosis suffer serious pain, you know, and so those are things that you have to discuss. And do you know that more women have dysfunction than men, even though we talk about what do you call it, for the men, erectile dysfunction.
Right. Yes.
Most men don't have erectile dysfunction, but 1/3 of women have a desire disorder, and some women don't even know that.
After menopause, I hear.
How do you know if you have a desire disorder? Every woman should have a desire for sex at least once per month. So within the cycle, either before your period or after your period, at least 1 day out of the month, you should feel like you want to have sex. The men have a desire every day.
Every day. That seems like a problem.
And why is this so? The main hormone in men is testosterone. In the women, you have progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. During the cycle, every month you should have at least 1 day when you have a desire. 1 month pass, you don't have a desire. 2 months pass, you don't have a desire. 6 months pass, and you don't have a desire. Then you could be diagnosed by the psychologist for having a sexual desire disorder. It comes for various reasons. Hormonal change, like when you get pregnant and you have a child, the hormonal flow would have changed when you stop your period. 1/3 of women after having their baby don't have a desire for their husband. It can come back. But some women, what they do, they put the baby in the middle of the bed and they don't facilitate it coming back. And they get highly religious, start to go to church and pray. And I tell the husband that all you need to do is to pray. Let me tell you.
God.
And I would say to that person, sometimes I am a praying man, and I love when my wife pray with me. But
Yes.
sometimes when I look at Keisha, it's not prayer I want.
Yes.
You hear that, Keisha?
I think I was the look to you know.
Hear it already.
Yes.
You know, so that's a question that I've always had, you know, how are you able, because we're not supposed to have sex before marriage as Christians,
Yeah.
how am I able to tell that sexually we're going to be compatible if I don't try it out first?
Yes.
Doctor,
All right,
hold on,
so-
Georgette. Hold on,
Yeah.
Georgette. You are entering into a different arena now, right?
Yeah.
No.
So before you answer Georgette's question, I want our viewers to understand this, that we've started out as the, premarital counseling, but what Dr. Dennis is giving you this evening is more than premarital counseling. He's giving you what it is like for a marriage, a real authentic marriage. And so this you would have to pay for if you go to him in Jamaica. But we saw it fit to have him come on so that he can share some of these things with you. Because it's like we're going to a foreign country and we get our suitcase, right? And we pack the different items in it. The love, the money, the everything is packed into that. And now you're walking with this into a new life. Doctor, Georgette asked a very potent question. How do you feel to answer that at this point?
All right. So let me start by saying sex before marriage is one of the predictors of failure in marriage.
All right.
Just
Can
like
we hashtag
how,
that, Pastor?
Hashtag
Yes.
it, yes.
Can we
Before-
hashtag that, Pastor?
hashtag it that.
Go ahead,
You can
Kaydian.
quote. You can quote the
Hashtag.
statistics.
Hashtag sex before marriage is one of the predictors of failure of marriage.
All right,
In
let's
marriage,
get
in
back-
marriage.
In marriage.
Failure in marriage.
Failure
So
in
what?
marriage.
Yeah. So some people believe, all right, if I live with the person and living together before also predisposes you to failure in marriage. So some people
I
think
agree
if I
with that.
live together, I will know the person more. And if I have sex with them before. So what happens? And the more persons you have sex with before marriage, is the more you're because you can compare now with other persons. I listened to a woman compare her husband to some men that she had sex with before, and it reinforces in my mind that the size of the penis and how the person was. If two persons come together who never had sex before and they practice together, they will get to where they want.
Discover
Yes,
Pastor.
become
together.
excellent
You have
together.
nobody to compare with. However, they just to touch another part of the question, people talk about puss in a bag. You have to interpret that, Sister Georgette, for me. For the
For
you know,
those who don't
so-
know what
so-
it means in Jamaica.
Right. So, and I know that's the question she's asking. So, in the sex and family planning session, one of the principles is that, and that's why we don't do that as the last. I don't do it as the last session. I try to do it at least 3 months before the marriage, so that you recommend that they go and see their medical doctor together. So the doctor will be able to say that the woman has a vagina and the man has a penis, and also we normally recommend that you check for sexual transmitted infection.
All right.
So I had to do that. Keisha and Anthony Gordon was our counselor, and he sent us. He didn't know what to do as young persons
Yes.
growing up in the church. He
yes.
wants the two of us go to the doctor,
Yes.
and the doctor said, "Oh, we're getting married, and
Yes.
we want." This.
I
Doctor
had-
laughed
yes,
at
I did
us and
mine
said,
too.
"You didn't know what to ask for." He says, "All right, I will set up a list of tests, blood tests
Yes.
for you to go and do, and then you come back to me." And then we
Sounds
just
good.
we went to the thing and do the blood test and we come back. So the doctors
I
will
did
be able
mine.
to say, if you're interacting long enough, while it would be difficult to know if the woman has a vagina, it's not too difficult to know if the man has a penis.
Oh, yes. But yes.
Yes,
Yes.
with
And
it,
I'm
yes.
not recommending this, but it was our professor, our Greek professor, who said she hugged him. That
Alright.
the first time you hug your
Supposed
you would
to
not
be.
be at the wedding.
Yes.
And so we're not going to say we're holy enough that we don't hug and we don't even hold
Yes.
that. She says if you're in each other's presence, and she says if you hug him tight enough and he have anything in him,
You will feel it.
you'll feel
Yes.
it.
You have to
Amen.
feel it.
Yes.
Dr. Dennis, you know,
So
Georgette has a...
that's not, don't quote me on that. No, don't hashtag
Yes.
that one.
Dr. Dennis, Georgette asked a question, but I feel very troubled, and I believe that I want a little more explanation.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm saying this is, as Christians, I'm not going to say as Seventh-day Adventists, no, but as Christians, right?
Yeah.
And you're walking with the Lord and you're moving according to his plans for your life. Should we really have those thoughts about puss in a bag and we have to try it first and stuff like? Should we really cultivate that type of thing in our mind?
All right. So we shouldn't cultivate those thoughts, but we should want to know what we are getting into.
Okay.
And so I refer to the doctor's visit as a fitness certificate.
Okay.
So I treat it, remember I referred to marriage as an operational vehicle.
Right.
Even in purchasing a car,
You need a mechanic.
by the Jamaican law, you cannot sell a car in Jamaica, even if it's parked for years, without fitness certificate.
Fitness.
And it would be foolish to get into marriage and you don't know what you're getting into.
Wow.
Because I have known of persons who lied to the person that they are married.
Wow,
And
this is
for
serious.
example, I have known a person who have HIV, for instance, or persons who know that they can't have a child, who go into marriage without discussing this with their partner, and when this is found out after the marriage, the
Devastating.
marriage
Serious,
is
yes.
no more. It's a lie that you built your foundation on.
Wow.
So you would be naive or even foolish, I would say, to pretend as because you're holy, you don't want to know. So the Greek professor would say, hug the man
Yes.
and
Hug him
find out
close.
if there's any movement. You know, I'm saying that, don't quote me on that. It's not. It's a Greek professor says so.
Yes.
But I say, go to your doctor and find out if the person has a vagina
All right.
or a penis.
So no
Yes.
need
No.
for the surprise.
There could be other issues involved. After you get married, addiction is another thing that you have to, and you're not going to find out everything on any of these issues.
Right.
But intelligently, you need to find out enough so that you can be confident that you are making the right
Right
decision.
decision.
We're gonna
That's
pause
it.
for a break.
Don't
right
be like
here.
that woman who says, or that man who says, God says this is the one. I don't need any premarital counseling. I don't need to find out about whether or not they have
That's
a sex
not the
organ.
standard.
If God says this is the one, I must.
This is it. Yes.
I would say that when God says that you are healed, you know what Jesus did with the leper? Jesus sent them
Send them to be checked.
Yes.
to check
Yes.
them to ensure. So
Yes.
follow this system. Even if God says this is the one, going through the system won't change that.
Yes, yes, awesome. We're so happy for this discussion this evening. And it takes me right back to my days when I was in counseling session, right there in Dr. Anthony Gordon's office. It just brings back all those memories of my experience going through the counseling session. And I hope you listeners are enjoying it, because we're going to take a break. And the next time you see us, it's going to be our wrap-up session here with Dr. Dennis. We'll pause for a break.
Welcome back.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes. I know that you are benefiting from this discussion. But before we close, I know somebody out there wants to know. You had mentioned, Dr. Dennis, the different steps before marriage. You said friendship, dating, courting, which is the serious part, and then marriage. But what would you say is the minimum time frame between courtship and marriage? Because sometimes you hear people meet the person, they fall in love, in 3 months they get married. But what would you recommend?
All right. All right. So I'm not sure if you're talking about from the dating phase to marriage or
From courtship, from you have
Counselling.
decided that yes, this probably is the one.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we are saying at least 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But generally for a younger person, I would say anywhere in their 20s or in their 30s who have never been married before, that the whole period from meeting the person to when they're married, you recommend at least 2 years.
Okay.
Good
From the friendship
foundation.
stage, and then by the end of 1 year, maybe they are saying this is the one. So they start the courting, and they run our 1.5 years, and for the last 6 months they run the counseling sessions while they are over that period. So the courting from maybe 1 year, dating, friendship dating for the first year, and then courtship for the second year. And during that time, they request counseling to give a final evaluation of their relationship.
One more question. I've heard this term. I know we can't finish.
Yes.
But this is the last question, I promise. I've heard the term pre-engagement counseling. Is it necessary along with premarital, or does the premarital cover that counseling session?
That's a good question. And my view. All right. So as a pastor and as a marriage officer, naturally, people who are getting married would go to their pastors for counseling. Now we have a lot of family therapists who are not pastors.
Okay.
So they are not getting any of the premarital counseling or the marriage counseling.
Okay.
Because studies in the United States shows that the first point for counseling, even today, the majority of people will go to their pastors. And so I believe that this is a concept, the pre-engagement is a concept by the mainly psychologists and family therapists. And they would cover the same topics that you're going to do, the same 10 issues. In premarital counseling, they do it in seminar form. So you can have what you call premarital education program. Or you can, so what they do counseling with the people on the same topics, and it's pre-engagement, because when the people engage, they're going to go to their marriage officer. So in Jamaica, marriage officers by law, if you're doing regular wedding, are required to do counseling.
Okay.
So when the people come to you as the marriage officer, what they're coming for is not just for you to sign the document, but to prepare them through counseling.
Okay.
Now, we have a lot of psychologists now in Jamaica and all around the world, and they want to be a part of it. And so they charge for pre-engagement, and they will take you through 12 sessions or 16 sessions, and you go and pay. But when you come back to me as your marriage officer, I'm going to take you through the same topic, communication, conflict resolution. There's nowhere else that they can go. Well, psychologists can go some other places. For example, they can look at your self-esteem, they can look at your personality, and they can do other assessments. But you don't necessarily need to do those in order to do it. So let me not say that they cannot go anywhere else. They can go to some other places that they can look at you too, which is your personality as well, if you want to do that. So I say to persons, if you feel like you want to do that, fine. But you don't need to prepare, and Rich says you do, depends on where you are, 4 to 8 sessions. I generally do 8 to prepare for marriage. Some people do up to 12. You don't need to do more than that, 12. If you do 12 with the marriage counselor, who is very effective, That's enough.
Yeah,
You do
yes.
12 with them and you do 12 with another person. Sometimes the difference in counseling can even damage you. You know, I believe that. And so, because you have different opinions. And sometimes it will benefit you. So it is up to the couple, but I would say you don't need to do both.
Okay.
And I don't do both because it's the same time. What I can do is that because I have my own inventory, I don't prepare enrich is highly academic. In Jamaica, more than a half of the couples I'm married are people who live together, and many times they don't read very well. You know, like those of you who are on the set right now, and so they will not be able to do the assessment by preparing. And the seminar, I would have to send them the manual, and they would have to go through, and we go through it. So I don't necessarily do that with them. I take them through my inventory and ask them the question. For persons who are professionals and would like to do the assessment and the seminars to prepare enrich, I will do my inventory as well as 4 of the sessions from prepare enrich, and they receive the manual. They will come back after 1 year and we complete the other 4 sessions after 1 year of marriage. So those who are the level and who can afford it, because you have to prepare enrich, right? And even though I don't charge in premarital, when you come back, you have to pay for your sessions. Right. So those persons who can afford it and who are at the level, then I will do those also, because it's a seminar form and you have the manual to keep with you as a point of reference. Right?
I'm so thankful, Dr. Dennis, for all this insight. You have packed us up and you have packed up our listeners. But I'm sure that these ladies here on set would like to give their final opinion of what was your takeaway from this noble discussion this evening.
My takeaway is that you do have to know what you are looking for. That is very important. And I want to speak to the person out there who is contemplating marriage, or you could be someone who is hoping to find a spouse. I just want to say, just know what you're looking for. Do not compromise on your values, things like integrity, emotional intelligence, the individual's relationship with God. Those are some of the vital things. And all you have to do is trust and believe God that He will provide the right person for you. It may not happen in your timing. It may take longer than you had expected, but God is faithful.
Amen. I love that.
My takeaway is that you need professional help, and you should get it. And that you should also listen to the advice that you get and take note of the red flags. Do not ignore it. And remember that you need to take time to know the other person. There's a song that says, take time to know him.
It's not an overnight thing.
Yes.
And Georgette, that's exactly, I was going to say that, as Percy Sledge says, what I take away from Dr. Dennis today, Percy Sledge said that we should take time to know. It's not an overnight thing. And in as much as, you know, you fall in love and you really want to just get married and live happily ever after, just by listening to Dr. Dennis, it's like, you know, it was a eye-opener. It was
deep.
Knowing that, hey, Treacha, you have a lot of work to be done. So in as much as you're looking, you're searching, just take your time. Take your time. So my advice to the listeners, and for someone who's like in Simone's position and myself, don't rush it. Don't rush it. And what I always say from my previous is that marriage has teeth and it will bite you if you don't go about it the right way. And when it bites, it is a good bite. So just take your time.
Leave a scar.
Yes.
Yes, Kaydian.
Just in addition to what the ladies have said, I just want to also emphasize the importance of finding the right premarital counselor.
Right.
Because to be honest, I didn't know that there was a 1-year follow-up session, and I think that's like a checking in. How are you doing?
Yes.
And so yes, you know, you have found that person, you think they might be, and you're considering the counseling. Do the research so that you get that good guidance to help prepare you for a successful marriage.
Yes. Thank you, Kaydian. Dr. Dennis, I have one last thought-provoking, and I would love for you to give me a 2-minute answer to this. I know I'm speaking to the world at large, and oftentimes we believe that we as Adventists and we speak for ourselves, but having programs like these, it means we're speaking to the mass. And there's somebody out there that might want to marry to someone from a different faith, like we've discussed in our last episode. And what is your advice to that person, even us as Seventh-day Adventists that tend to say, yes, we can change that person? Doc, what is your professional opinion on this question?
Right. So it's an injunction from the scriptures that doesn't take away the individual's choice. So it is not, I would say, it is not the unpardonable sin.
Okay.
But there are consequences for doing so. So for instance, we see Solomon, who intermarried into other nations in order to strengthen his kingdom, but he ultimately confessed that this has consequences. So the Bible, it is not discriminatory either. It is the reality of what will happen.
Yeah.
So it is, number one, I would say it is your choice. And when you make a choice contrary to what God guides you on, you must bear in mind that there are consequences to begin. Some persons, and we see in the scriptures, for example, we have the story of Ruth and Naomi, and their sons went over into, I think it's Moab, and when they would have married the ladies from Moab, but Ruth, we see, accepted the faith, the Jewish faith and the Jewish religion.
Yes.
So for some of those persons, and I have known of some, their spouse will ultimately accept their religion, but it must be their choice.
Yes.
Some people are dating and the person gets baptized. We shouldn't rush them to get them baptized if they don't believe.
Right.
But they make a choice that I want to accept her faith, I want to accept his faith, and I will do so before I get married. It shouldn't be, what I encourage is that if you are dating the person, you shouldn't be the one doing the Bible study.
Yes.
Find somebody else, a Bible worker or your pastor, to work with the person, not to coerce the person.
Right.
But if they decide and they love your religion and they want to accept it, that's fine. The problem is that we allow relationship grow on us before we use the standards to evaluate. So what I would say to those who are not there yet is that you must evaluate before the relationship grows on you. So if you are looking like, you know, two of our ladies here, your standards must be right up front.
Oh, yes.
And you must know when a relationship is building with you and somebody who is not an Adventist to know how far you want to take that relationship.
Right. Yes.
And you should manage that. Right? If you know that this is not for somebody who believes what you believe, don't allow it to get to an emotional state, worse to get sexual, and then now you want to decide whether or not to marry an Adventist. That time it might be late because you are so emotionally attached.
Yes.
So use the standards up front to make your evaluation.
Thank you so much.
Persons who have married outside of God's plan, sometimes the spouse ultimately accept their religion.
Yes.
Other times they don't, and you have to live with the consequences that comes after. That is not the unpardonable sin. I want to say that.
Yes.
It is not the unpardonable sin, but there are consequences for doing so.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So it was 20 years ago that I remembered walking in the conference office to Elder Gordon's room where we were counseled as a couple. And we enjoyed every moment of our counseling session, Kaydian. It was one of those things that I was so happy for, not knowing anything about marriage or never ever married. And the truth about it, Dr. Dennis, is that I got married at a late age, way into my 30s. So you can imagine this little girl from Maypen Town, never ever, you know, have anyone in her life, and to be able to be faced with a decision to get married. I had to seek counseling because I want to know that I'm fully prepared. And so premarital counseling for me at that time, it was vital, it was important, it was beneficial, and I'm happy that I did. And today we want to promote premarital counseling right from this platform to encourage you, our listeners. If you're considering getting married, Kaydian, get yourself a good premarital counseling session because it will help you. It will help you both to see where you are. Dr. Dennis, we ask you just to give us a quick summary of this evening's discussion for our guests and our listeners.
All right. So you start by making the right selection.
Yes.
When you're choose the right friends. Show me a friend and it will tell me who you are. So you choose people, male and female, in your lives who will be of value and make valuable contributions.
Yes.
That's one. So friendship, you make now and you select. As you're dating, remember now, you don't make commitments. You're not married until you're married. So you don't make certain commitments until, you know, as I said, in courtship, there's some level of commitment to say, we're evaluating this relationship, so I will not be dating other persons, right? And so, all right, you select, know the factors or the to look for, know what to expect. Like we discussed some of the topics that you will have to deal with, know some of the issues that you will have to face in a relationship, and so you will be able to evaluate. Select someone who is well equipped to do the premarital counseling. Yes, so that at least you know the opinion that you have will be legitimate, and you can be guided on the right path. Somebody who is firm enough, who can say to you, if you are not measuring up, that you are not ready yet, maybe you'll have to wait a little bit, or maybe this is the right person. All right, because contrary to what they say, love is not blind. Love is intelligent.
Yes.
Right? And so those are some of the things that I say that I want to leave with you, that and remember, premarital counseling is one of the predictors of success in marriage. Studies have shown that those who have gone through premarital counseling are more likely to stay together in marriage. Not everybody who go through stay, but they are more likely to stay. So it is an important factor for a successful marriage. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Dennis. We're so happy that you are here. Yes, Kaydian.
Yes. I know that you will agree that the discussion was very thought-provoking as well as very insightful. There are many things that were discussed that we did not know.
Right.
Even for those who are already married, they're like, where was this information before? But now we know. And for those who are planning to get married or not yet dating or is dating, resources are available to help you to have a successful marriage. And as we know, a successful marriage is a happy marriage.
Indeed. Yes. Yes, my dear panelists, is there anything you want to say to our viewers today?
All I want to say is, you're not the only one. You're not alone, because my thoughts are being provoked, right?
Yes.
So just accept and know that, hey, I now have to start thinking, will I be making the right decisions? And don't do what I did for those who watched the previous session.
So send them back to that last week episode.
Right, went ahead and got married because my heart wanted what my heart wanted, and I gave into my heart. But let us do it the right way this time.
Yes.
By getting the right advice from the professional.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'd say knowledge is power. I'm so grateful, Pastor, that you joined us this evening and shared with us. You know, it was just so inspiring.
Yes.
And it was very, not just interesting, it was essential.
Yes.
And I think that our viewers will definitely benefit from the information that we got tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dennis.
Dr. Dennis, we have been so enriched by this conversation, and we would like to know more. So how can we get your book? How can we get copies? And tell us, where can we find you? If we wanted to have a conversation with you, how would we get in touch with you?
Yes.
Okay, I know the second question is difficult to answer, but
Okay.
let me answer the first one. All right, so the first one is the book. The book is published by Inter-American Publishing Association, Inter-American Division Publishing Association, IADPA. So it is available in their store. So I don't sell the book. The publishers sell the book. It is at the IADPA bookstores, that is the Seventh-day Adventist bookstores in across Inter-American Division, which is all of Central America and the Caribbean.
Can you hold up the book, Pastor, so we can see
42 countries. 42 countries. All right. So premarital preparation handbook. So you can source it. They can order it anywhere in the Caribbean. You can. So if you have connection with Jamaica, you can request someone to purchase it from you. IADPA is IADPA. The Inter-American Division office is in Miami. I don't know what they'll do there, but I know it's in the bookstores, the IADPA bookstores, all over the Caribbean, right? So you can order from the. It's not one of those that is on Amazon or so on, based on the structure of how the books are sold through IADPA. I have no control over that. So the publishers, they will sell the book. All right, and as it relates to me, as you mentioned before in the introduction, I work with the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. I am the Family Ministries Director and the Trust Services Director. So I am not on my own like a private person.
We understand, sir.
For like counseling or so on. If as an individual, maybe you would like me to do seminars or churches to do seminars, then you can reach me through the Jamaica Union Conference. So the website, jmunion.org, and when you go there, there's a section drop down that says Ministries, and you click on that, and you will see Family Ministries. When you go there, you can get my contact information. So those who are really interested, you can find me at jmunion.org. When you go to Family Ministries, my phone number, my email address, and so on is on the website. You should see the book and other documents that I have produced. For example, there's a Family Ministries manual there that I produce, not published like this one, but it will help you on how to conduct family ministries in your churches. So that is available.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. And we're so happy to have you joining us today. And we hope that another day, another time in the near future, we will have Sister Dennis joining, because I know that's where the buzz would be buzzing at that time to have her on our discussion space here. So until we meet again right here in the Mantled for More discussion space, we are so happy you have joined us. Right, Kaydian?
So right, Sherye. So Simone, where can they find us?
Make sure to follow us on AdventistOntario.tv. We are also available on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.
Connect with us every Sunday evening at 7 p.m.
See you next week when we discuss Image Matters.
This is Mantled for More.
And remember, the mantle marks you, but more transforms you. See you next time.
Bye-bye.